What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. You know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. But hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. At this point, the Clippers are still looking for another impactful player. And when you think about that, there's only but a selective few from the buyout option list that, there is to pick from. Now, of course, we know that the Clippers have let go of Serge Ibaka. We know that they have made some trades in regards to Norman Powell and Robert Covington, which were two good trades. I really thought two good pickups, probably one of the best pickups in the trade deadline like this season, to me, if you ask me, just based upon impact. And now letting go of Serge Ibaka, definitely, I don't think they got anything in return from him. They got two wing players, the Ojale guy and Rodney Hood. I don't think either one of them players are really that valuable. Personally, I think they're definitely going to be released from the team, maybe possibly in a buyout option themselves. Who knows? But I'm not really sure how much the Clippers can get out of them or any type of production that they're looking for in regards to helping them win. But we'll see exactly how that goes. Now, when I look at the list, of players that, seem to, be out there on the buyout market still currently, there are a few players that, are, pick worthy, I would say. It just depends on really what the Clippers are looking for. I thought they might have been looking for a point guard still, which maybe they still might actually. And then, of course, the big man center position is a big one now on the list. Robin Lopez is one for center. Gary Harris, he was on the Nuggets, I think, last year. Now he's with Orlando, currently anyway with Orlando. I thought DJ Augustine was would be another good solid pickup. I'm not sure about him. I think it's far off from getting him possibly, on the list. And of course, John Wall is still out there too, as far as like a possible, pickup or something like that, if somebody's willing to, do something with his contract and allow him to come on board. And of course, you still got other players on the list as well. You got DeAndre Jordan, you got Kent Bazemore, even Eric Bledsoe is still up there. On the list specifically, Rodney Hood is up there, even though he's on the Clippers, so I definitely feel like the Clippers are thinking about getting another impactful player or a player they think that can make an impact. They just don't know who or what the best option is. They also got Hernan Gomez on there. He's a pretty solid big man. There are some pieces out there, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, me personally, I would have liked to see them go after Goran Dragic, as I've been saying, which is a broken record now. I definitely understand that. But now that he's signing with the Nets, that just gave the Nets even more firepower. If he's coming off the bench, man, they really, are going to have a solidified team that can, do damage in the playoffs, especially with, Kyrie and, Kevin Durant still being there. And if that mandate gets lifted, then Kyrie can play home games. And wow, they're really going to be a firehouse team along with Ben Simmons. That's going to be a great situation for them. And I thought that was a good pickup for them, but a bad non-pickup, for the Clippers. I thought, Goran Dragic could at least help the Clippers in some ways, in regards to his wisdom and how he plays and his craftiness. I thought he would have brought something to the Clippers that they don't have now, which is, another body in there with veteran leadership, good locker room guy that they need, but, they do have some good locker room guys. I'm not going to say they don't, but I'm just saying, I felt like somebody like him could help the Clippers in a lot of good ways. I feel like, Goran Dragic could have basically cured some of the Clippers' bad habits, turnovers when you don't need it, playing lackadaisical on defense, Goran Dragic doesn't cheat you on any possession. So, I thought that would have been a good pickup for them, but that's neither here nor there now because he's definitely probably going with the Nets, and that's the way the signing looks like it's going for that. But me personally, if I were the Clippers, out of this list or whatever's left, maybe pick up maybe a Robin Lopez or somebody like that, maybe, just to have an extra backup in there, extra big man on the bench or something like that. But really, I wouldn't be too concerned about the buyout at this point. You got pretty much what you have is what you have, and that's pretty much where you are. And the goal is to get Kawhi and PG back, of course. And the goal is still try to win a championship with what you have. And they have enough pieces to win it. I just don't know if injuries are going to step in the way, or, it's still going to be a situation where something comes in their way where they can't find a way to complete it. But they definitely have a good enough team. And I definitely think that, they can definitely do something in the Western Conference if they're healthy. Like I said before, I do hate the fact they don't have a player like Patrick Beverley still, because I think that Patrick Beverley makes up a lot on their defense, taking a little bit of pressure off Kawhi and PG of guarding the other team's best players when they're there. But at the same time, they still have a championship level roster. So you got to give them credit there. But as I said, at this point, I just really don't think there's much out there in the buyout market for the Clippers. I think they pretty much should, kind of stick with what they have. And like I said, maybe add a big man in there if you want to go get a Robin Lopez or Hernan Gomez or somebody like that, just to, add another big man to the roster so you can, have somebody to, step in just in case another injury occurs or something like that. It's always good having three, big men, if you could, that can, step into that role and play the position, three big men that you feel like you can trust anyway. So that would be good if they were able to do that. But other than that, I just feel like they are who they are. The team they have is the team they have. Just rock with what you have, because, really, I don't think no player out this buyout list now can really make an impact on the Clippers no more than any player they have on their roster currently. I just don't really see it. Don't get me wrong, one of these players could, something like that. Hypothetically, let's say they got Robin Lopez and DJ Augustine. Yeah, those players would definitely, possibly help out, but I don't know how much they would help out. You see what I'm saying? Or like, let's say they got John Wall and, Robin Lopez. That would be two good, solid pickups, I suppose. But helping you win, winning, I don't know if those are type of players that can help you win championships or get to that level. But would they be two solid pickups? Of course, they would. But I pretty much would stay where I am if I were the Clippers. I just don't really see much out there. Now, like I said, Rodney Hood's name is on the list, and Ojale, his name is on the list, I believe. So they're definitely trying to, get rid of them, I believe, and get cash for them, or, pick up somebody else with dropping them, or one of those players. They're definitely looking at that, but we'll just have to see exactly what they do in regards to that, or whether they just keep them, because like I said, there's really no game changers out there. And the only one I thought they could have been, a good, decent pickup for the Clippers would have been Dragic, but, they passed on that one. And, when I'm looking at the rest of the list or hearing about the players on the list, it just doesn't, it just doesn't look like any one of those players would make the Clippers any better. Or, I'm saying, like I said, I personally think the Clippers are good the way they are. If you ask me, based upon that list, the Clippers might as well keep what they have, because I still think, they're growing their young players, they're developing them the way they're supposed to. And their young players are really understanding, what comes with winning, and Ty Lue is definitely implementing that to them. And I feel like, when you bring somebody on mid-season like this, it's like you're trying to teach them all over again, or teach them something that everybody else in the roster already knows. You're trying to get them up to speed. And sometimes that can mess up chemistry, and sometimes that could just mess up like the flow when you're trying to win. You know what I'm saying? Everybody on the roster understands their spot. So if the Clippers did bring somebody in, it would have to be somebody like, a veteran who's been around a long time, like a Robin Lopez or somebody like that, who would come in and just know his role, play his role to perfection, get rebounds, do the dirty work, and, pound the ball down, dunk somebody in the rim whenever he gets an opportunity. That's the only type person I could see the Clippers getting, somebody who really doesn't need much, micromanaging, somebody who really just kind of understands, how to play basketball and what their role is and play their role to perfection. And and Robin Lopez is an example of what I'm trying to say. So not saying they're going to have to get him, but still, he's an example of what I'm talking about. I don't think the Clippers should try to bring in somebody and completely like try to, mold them into the player that they're not, what I'm saying? Try to get them to play a game, a style that they're not really comfortable with. And I feel like that's what they did with Eric Bledsoe. I feel like, they try to get him to be a little bit more than what he was. He's a really, really good, decent, solid role player. That's it. You can't get him to be consistent. You can't get him to be, a consistent contributor on both ends of the floor. Because, he doesn't do that consistently. He never has his whole career. So it's like, when you acquire players like that, expecting too much out of them is the worst, because they never given you a reason to expect too much out of them, because their career is based off of here and there basketball, somewhat, sometime, probability. And that's the way players like that are. And I feel like that's where the Clippers have made mistakes before, trying to acquire players and trying to get too much out of them when that's not what they really do. And sometimes I feel like they've done that with Kawhi and PG, having them average, 6-7 assists a game. That's not who they are. Kawhi and PG are scorers. They're not, guys that's going to give you 6-7 assists a game. It's okay if they give you 4 or 5, 3 or 4, something like that. That's okay. But as far as anything else, I don't think they should try to, get things out of players that, really that they're not good at. Now, if they happen to give you that additionally, fine, but don't try to turn them into something that they're not. And I feel like, the Clippers don't need to do that in this buyout. If they decide to go for somebody in the buyout, get somebody who really, really knows their role, who's secure in their role, and do what they do best. So you don't have to, try to get something out of them that they really don't do well, and which will end up having them make mistakes on the floor, which can cost you games. And that's just the way it is. Just kind of stay within your means and don't go outside of that. And that's just my advice to, the Clippers and whatever, just in regards to whoever they decide to, pull the trigger on or something like that. But me personally, as I said, maybe somebody like Robin Lopez. But other than that, I would just stick with what I have and just kind of ride the wave out there and see where it takes me. If, Kawhi and PG come back, and see, where it all ends up at the end. That's, if I were the Clippers, that's what I would do. But hey, that's my take on everything. Leave any comments in the comment section, as always. And hey, Khaliis out.